Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts. They faced off the Arizona Cardinals and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cardinals won that game. It was a very close game. I believe it was a one-score game, right? The final score was, what was it again? Eagles versus Cardinals.
33-26?
33-26?
Yeah.
I think it was that too. Let me check.
Just
to double check. Yeah, 33-26. And when you watch this game, you look at two quarterbacks that play similarly, that are dual threat quarterbacks in Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. And it's the question, who do you think played better out of those two?
Well, I'll start by saying both of these quarterbacks, I think, played incredible games. I think they were both very impressive. And I think that if you ask me who I was impressed with more, I would say I'm more impressed by Jalen Hurts because I was impressed by him last week against the Saints. Yeah. But coming out a second week, the Cardinals had a whole week to prepare for him. They knew he was coming. They're not a terrible defensive unit. They're not a great defensive unit, but they're a formidable defense. To come out with a week of preparation, Jalen Hurts, a guy who's had so many question marks about if his game will translate, he came out and not only did he play well, but he was making throws that nobody thought he could make at the NFL level. Like, he was making plays, and also he just elevates that entire Eagles offense. The last 2 weeks, they've had two of the best rushing performances of the entire season. And just the way he gets out of the pocket. I know he was sacked 6 times yesterday, but if it was Carson Wentz, it might have been 12. Because the way he gets out of the pocket and makes plays, it's plays that Carson Wentz wouldn't make because he doesn't attempt to extend the play the way Jalen Hurts does. And he did it last week and did it again this week. So I was more impressed by Jalen Hurts, but Kyler Murray had the better game. And that's just because Kyler Murray is on a different level right now. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL.
Made the Pro Bowl.
And this was the best game that he had all season long in my eyes. Like, he was legitimately making winning plays that you won't see from a lot of quarterbacks in this league. And it's just Kyler Murray is at a different level right now than Jalen Hurts, so I think he had the better game.
I think this was a great Kyler game, but I think his best game this season was the Seattle one.
That's fair. I
think his best game was the Seattle one, but I mean, you can't go wrong with either one. I agree with you. Look, I'm not taking away anything from Kyler because Kyler was phenomenal in this game. DeAndre Hopkins had 169 yards receiving, I think. Kyler threw to 10 different receivers.
Yeah, 3 of those are DeAndre Hopkins had 4 catches. 3 of those catches accounted for 75% of the yards.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts, I'm extremely impressed with how he's been. I made a segment a couple weeks ago talking about how nobody should give up on Carson Wentz, and I don't think they should. You know, I think Carson Wentz can still be a good quarterback, and I'm banking on him to be a good quarterback still, but I think his time with Philadelphia is done. This is the second time where Carson Wentz has kind of been revoked from his quarterback position in Philadelphia. The first time happened with Nick Foles. When Foles won a Super Bowl, the whole locker room looked at Foles as a leader. They gravitated towards him. They liked him more. Yes, Wentz was more talented, but the player and the quarterback that fit the Eagles the most was Nick Foles. They decided to stick with Wentz. Still, they traded Foles. Now you look at this situation with Hurts and Wentz. They draft Hurts. Wentz now feels like a quarterback's looking over his shoulder. So now what does Wentz do? He tries to play too much hero ball. He leads the league in turnovers. What this showed me about Wentz is that Wentz can't handle the pressure of having somebody sit behind him, waiting for him basically to mess up for him to have his shot. We've seen Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Okay, you drafted Jordan Love. I'm going to have my best season yet. Carson Wentz. Oh, you drafted Jalen Hurts. Now my ego, my confidence is stricken. And I don't feel confident in myself because now you don't believe in me. He needs to go into a situation where the team wholeheartedly believes in him for him to be successful. But enough of Wentz. Talking about Hurts, I mean, this guy was phenomenal. He made a ton of NFL-level throws, tight window throws throughout the game. They didn't have a turnover. He fumbled 3 times, but he didn't lose either of them. But Jalen Hurts has been so good to start. Like, I knew Hurts was good, but I didn't think he was this good. Right now, he's looking superstar-level good. And when you talk about this quarterback class, I'll go more in depth in this when we talk about the Tua segment, but this quarterback class is awesome. They've all come poised and confident and ready to go, even though there is no offseason. You look at Burrow, Herbert, Tua, and Jalen Hurts. They all look really good. and they haven't even gotten that many reps yet. Like, honestly, this is Jalen Hurts' second game that he started, and he didn't even have preseason games to get game reps in. So this is his second game in the NFL, basically.
Yeah, and you're talking no preseason, no OTAs, nothing like that. So this is his first NFL action. But to speak to your point about Carson Wentz a little bit, I was listening to the ESPN the other day, and Dan Orlovsky, I believe it was, said what I think is the most telling point in this whole dilemma. As a quarterback in the NFL, you need to walk into that huddle every Sunday and have the 10 guys that are on the field with you have confidence in you, that you have confidence in yourself. You're going to come out, be the guy to make the plays to win the football game. And you need that to be a quarterback in the NFL. And I think this season, Carson Wentz did not have that at all. And especially now seeing Jalen Hurts come in, the guy is a born leader. You saw what he did at Alabama, getting replaced by Tua, having him win the championship, and who's the first guy there to celebrate with him? Jalen Hurts. And then he goes to Oklahoma. He balls out there. Any situation you put him in, he thrives. He's just a born leader. So for him to come in, play as well as he had after the Nick Foles situation earlier in his career, it's going to be very difficult in Philadelphia to come back and recover from that. But like you said, I still think Carson Wentz has the potential to be a great quarterback in the league, at least be a starting caliber quarterback in the league, but he needs a fresh slate. I kind of see it like a Sam Darnold situation, although Wentz has shown much more that he can be successful, but in order for him to be successful, he needs a fresh start. And he said it. If he's not the starting quarterback next season, he wants out, which I get it, but there's no way the Eagles can move on from Jalen, or can go back to Carson Wentz after what Jalen Hurts has shown them and shown this football team in 2 games. The best 2 games they've looked all season have been the last 2 weeks with Jalen Hurts.
It's exciting, and it's because the offense can be opened up so much more. You can run zone reads. You can run more RPOs. Jalen Hurts is more of a playmaker in terms of getting out of the pocket. And we talk, like, Alshon Jeffrey had his best game all season against the Cardinals when Jalen Hurts was there. And that's because Jalen Hurts was giving him opportunities for 50-50 balls. And I think the best thing that gets overlooked that Jalen Hurts is doing is that he's playing within the offense. Carson Wentz tried to do too much. He cost them points. When they were in field goal territory, he turned the ball over. He cost them a lot of times. Jalen Hurts is just doing what he has to do to keep the drive alive, and I think that's what's most important for the Eagles right now. And like you said, I just don't see any way where Carson Wentz is starting or plays another starting snap for the Eagles anymore. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and I'm not sitting here saying Jalen Hurts has been perfect, because he certainly hasn't. He had a couple plays yesterday, or I'm sorry, now 2 days ago, where, you know, you kind of looked at it and you're like, ooh, hold on a second. Like, that safety was a really, that was a rookie mistake. And he had a couple of those throughout the day. He had that fumble late that, of course, he ends up recovering and turning it into a positive. But there are some things that he needs polishing on. But the fact that he's come out and looked this good in a situation where the guy who you thought was your franchise looked so bad for the start of the season, you got to feel good about it. And now you're going into an offseason where you're going to have a pretty solid draft pick. You can build on this. You'll hopefully get healthy, which has been one of their biggest issues this year. And you're playing in a division where nobody's looked great this season. There's a lot of question marks this offseason. Who's going to take that next step next year? Are the Cowboys going to bring back Dak? If they don't, who's going to be their quarterback? Do the Giants have their guy in Daniel Jones? The Washington football team as a whole at quarterback. So there's so much up in the air. The Eagles have a window here where maybe Jalen Hurts is the guy. And all that flack they caught this offseason for wasting a second-round pick on him, maybe it was the best decision they ever could have made, because had they not taken him, right now they'd have Carson Wentz at quarterback, paying him $30 million a year for the next 3 seasons, and they would have no answer.
You said it. The Giants and Washington have a hole, but no way they trade Wentz to Washington or New York.
No, they shouldn't.
No way.
No, and that's not what I was implying. I was saying there are so many question marks with the other teams in the division that the Eagles really have a chance here. If Jalen Hurts is their guy, they can run this division for the next 3 years. Yeah. Who knows? It's anybody's division at this point.
And you talk about Hurts' leadership. He reminds me of Dak Prescott in terms of his leadership. Jalen Hurts is a born leader, and I think that's what gives him the edge to keep this starting job. And because I think the locker room has already rallied behind him. I think they're already on board with Jalen Hurts and they're moving on with him. They see that he's better. He's a better fit than Carson Wentz. And it's tough because Carson Wentz has a talent, but he just isn't a leader. And I think especially when you play the quarterback position, that's one of the most important things to have.
Yeah, you can't be a timid guy at quarterback in the NFL. Every quarterback in the NFL, if you ask them who the best quarterback in the NFL is, they better say themselves. Like, that's the confidence that you need to have if you're playing the position. And I think that Jalen Hurts brings a good balance of, he will do whatever it takes for the team to win, but he still thinks that he's the best in the room at the end of the day. And you saw it in college. I mentioned it before. He gets benched for Tua because it was best for the team, and he would still have done anything Alabama needed to win the football game. If they needed him at receiver, he would have done it. But then the next season, he says, okay, I still feel like I can be the guy for a national championship team. He goes to Oklahoma, and look at that. They're in the college football playoff again, and although they end up losing, he had an incredible season. So He is that guy. He has the confidence to be that guy. And, I do wonder, dual threat quarterbacks who are better with their legs have proven, even Lamar Jackson, who won an MVP award, has now been slowed down this year. So after getting some tape on him, can he really, elevate with that arm and become a thrower? Because you need to be a thrower in the NFL as much as dual threat guys.
You need to be a throw first quarterback that can
run. Exactly. As much as dual threat guys are the new wave of quarterbacks in the league, you need to be able to throw the football. There's no question about it. And like you said, he's made some Sunday throws these past 2 weeks, and I've been really impressed, and I'm excited to watch him moving forward.